What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Reap the Harvest Live. It doesn't get any bigger. It doesn't get any better, but it does get brighter from here. It is 2021. Happy New Year. We're going to kick into the intro and give you guys some Momentum Monday. My kids are screaming in the background, so if you hear them, that's just part of the deal. I'm going to kick in the intro. We'll be back, and let's rock.
Cute family right there.
That is just a beautiful family there, an American family, a working family, a successful family. Is that what you guys want? Then you got to plant seeds and reap the harvest. Matt, what's up, dog?
What's going on, Mom? What's going on?
Great. Getting stuff done.
Love it. New year, new you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. But man, yeah, we've been working on a lot of things. We've been pretty busy. We closed on a big commercial asset in Augusta, Georgia, so we're pretty excited about that. So that's why we've been a little lackluster these past couple of weeks as far as getting Momentum Mondays out there. But I'll tell you what, I've been one of the things that I've put in my repertoire a lot is just reading, right? I'm a podcast guy, and then reading has just been another element as far as education, how you can learn faster, right? I listen to this guy, Jim Quick, a lot. And I know I've mentioned him in the past, some past podcasts, but this guy, Jim Quick, allows you to basically read at another level and comprehend. He takes you through the different brain tricks that you can do to comprehend information at a faster pace. And I was actually listening to another podcast the other day. John Gordon, one of my favorite, was actually interviewing this guy, Mark Batterson, which he's phenomenal as well. I actually went to his church in DC, and he reads like 200 books in a given year, which I'm like, how do you do that? How do you comprehend like 200 books in a year? It's wild. But a couple things that I'm building in my repertoire for this year, right, is reading books more actively. It just allows you to be a separator, allows you to get ahead a lot faster when you can learn from other people. So it allows you to adapt, take basically their background, their experience, and put it in application. So I've been doing that. Last year, what I did was I kind of created a spreadsheet that was points-based system. And then at the end of this year, I went back and reflected on some of my goals. And I'm like, dang, man, I hit nearly every one of them. What I'm doing this year that's a little bit different was I got my daily planner. I put my daily planner. I put all my goals in place. I'm basically changing and pivoting a little bit on just a couple different things. Number one is I'm trying to be hyper focused on the items that I need to get done in that day. So I have top threes that I'll actually put into my calendar that only allow me to work on those threes. Because what I found was with my ADHD and I'm running was that I was taking things that like weren't generating revenue and putting them ahead of other things that like should have been priority in creating the revenue. So I'm like, hey, I got to identify the night before what my top threes are as far as revenue generating activities. How do I generate revenue from these? And then that's what I work on the following day. When I get those, I can have fillers all day, but I cannot put those as priority if they aren't a priority and they aren't producing revenue. So, and that goes to back like off of how you scale too. I mean, you need to like hire on obviously more people if you're going to be in the mix. We learned that within the property management piece, right? I'm not going to go out swinging a hammer that's not producing revenue for me. I might as well hire a maintenance guy to go out there and do that for me so I can focus on underwriting more deals or whatever I need to do. So the goal setting piece is huge, but Think and Grow Rich, I cannot explain how unbelievable that book is, because that book have you ever read that book, Pat?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So Think and Grow Rich, I know it's an old one, and Napoleon Hill, but it's a solid. And I actually bought the one that
it's a classic because it's effective. The stuff that's in there works, or it wouldn't be this good after this long?
Yeah. So they put in the one that I bought actually put in some new characters that are successful in their own right. So they were putting like obviously the Steve Jobs, various people.
Nice.
So then they had like little tidbits in there, which is really good. But even the old guys, right? That's what I love hearing about, like the Edisons. But the different layers that come along with that, right? And how you build healthy habits that associated to becoming the best version of yourself. Like I always say, you determine your own definition of success. Don't let somebody else determine that for you. It doesn't have to be in monetary gains. You can consider yourself successful. You just have to know your purpose and your why, right? And I was actually talking with a buddy the other day, and we were just going through, we were masterminding together on how to identify new techniques to generate revenue. And then I'm like, dude, like we're good buddies, but I don't think I've ever asked you the question, why do you do what you do? Right. Why do you do? He's like, that's the nicest question somebody could ask me. Why do you do what you do? And he's like, and then we just got into a deeper conversation because a lot what he's doing is it's for his mom. It's for his mom. He wants to give financial security to his mom and his family. So he does everything for his family. So it's cool to understand why people work, right? What's the motivation there? But so that's been a huge piece, right? I read that book in a couple of days. The energy bus was another one. John Gordon is, but like, how are we, what's our level of energy that we're giving out, that we're emitting to other people? Because that's going to determine, right, our own definition of success as far as how we're creating energy in other people. And then I think we actually talked about that one because I finished that book and it was a super easy read. But now it comes into like coming into the new year where I'm reading Atomic Habits, and habit stacking is huge too. So in the morning, and what I do the following night is I number out my top 3, and then coming into the morning, I'm trying to wake up as early as possible. My little one is killing me though. She woke up at 4:45 this morning. I'm like, she's almost beating me up. But I woke up about 4:15, 4:20, got some things in. She woke up, got her bottle of milk, which isn't in my habit stacking. I might have to actually incorporate that into it. But then taking that, so I go in directly. What's actually crazy, let me tell you a little bit about the habit stacking piece though, because if you want to read more, a part of a habit stack would be putting your book right on your pillow so that when you're going to bed at night, like you lay down in bed, right? You open up a book, you read like a chapter, and then you go to bed. So that's like part of like a habit stack, right? I'm going to bed, I'm reading the book. There's other bad habits that you could break that he says, like, for purely from a cognitive standpoint, on how people are aware where bed isn't associated with like sleep. And typically why people have trouble sleeping is because they're bringing stuff into the bed with them, right? Bed is meant for 2 purposes, sex and sleep, right? And when people bring in their phone, they're bringing in their work, they're bringing in a ton, their mind the cortisol release can't get to the point where serotonin, you can't have the release of the serotonin of getting a deep sleep because you have your phone in you. And that means your phone is associated to work, and work is now brought into the bed, right? So part of habit stacking is from the point of like, hey, when I like end work, like I'm truly ending work and I'm only allowing the bed to be associated with the S's, right? So sleep is so important, and that allows you to get a cortisol kick, which ultimately allows you to sleep, like have a really good sleeping pattern. So anyways, that's an Atomic Habits on how you can build things. So what I did, I'm like, hey, well, what are my habits? So I'm sitting there, write down my habits. And I have a lot of good habits, but I want to get rid of a lot of bad too.
Right.
So one of the things is I want to associate what I'm doing and be hyper focused. So my word of the year is presence, and presence in whatever I'm doing, right? If I can realign and get back into the present of what I'm trying to do at that given moment. So the one thing that was always like, even in the morning, that would happen, like, oh, I'm doing something. Oh, I'll go make some coffee and then come back to it, right? So instead, part of habit stacking is doing that the night before, right? Having everything prepped and laid out. So my coffee, I just have to hit a button and my coffee pour my coffee, go back, sit down. Now, coffee is associated to waking up for me. So that's a cognitive habit, right? Too. So I'm drinking coffee. I enjoy coffee while I'm reading. So I do a couple different things. I go into kind of my spiritual mindset. I go into meditation. As soon as I wake up, I'll actually go through stretching. This is also part of, I literally just broke this out. So I've been in the course of like 4 or 5 days now. But it's helped tremendously. So what I'll do is I'll get up, and a meditative state for me is stretching. So like I'll pretty much do like kind of like a small yoga of like 5 minutes, right? Just like stretching and meditating, allow my body to like just rest and my mind to rest. Go get coffee. I already have it done. All I need to do is push a button. It releases, right? My coffee's made. I'll then come back, and when my coffee's made, right, then I go into reading, and I do grab my phone. So I grab my phone for like more meditative reading, scripture reading, where I like can abide and just run through that process. Then as soon as I'm done with that, this is part of the habit stacking thing. So like, this is part of Atomic Habits. This can be James Clear is the author if you're going to check him out. So part of that then is once I'm done with that, I then go into reading. So like I'll go into a reading where I'm reading about, anywhere from 2 to 3 chapters. This is where Jim Quick has helped me as far as having a cognitive understanding. I don't read out loud anymore. So I used to like read out loud underneath my breath, super annoying to other people. It slows your cognitive. So where you're trying to absorb information, it actually slows your reading down. So if I'm reading out loud, it's slowing my reading down, and I'm absorbing information at a much slower pace. So I'm actually reading 3 or 4 sentences almost like ahead sometimes. Really, it's like 2 sentences ahead where like my mind's capturing, but I'm gathering the information. I'm able to get through a book like probably in a week now.
That's pretty fast.
But it's unbelievable how Jim Quick, like understanding that mindset. So I listened to his podcast. If you're going to check out podcasts this year, and that's kind of like one of your goals and your MOs for this year, I would definitely check out Jim Quick, Ed Milet, John Gordon are kind of 3 staples for me that kind of helped me kind of understand the process. And then if you're going to follow somebody on social media, I would recommend Andrew Huberman. He's phenomenal to understand kind of the concepts of the brain and really understanding the brain at a deeper level.
And so how are you going to apply this next 90 days? Because you got a big plan for the first 90 days of the year. We talked about it. I'm excited about it. Okay, cool.
This is
I've been on Clubhouse calls like all morning, so I'm like.
So this is how I'm like basically gearing up for the next 90 days to really like focus and hone in on what we're doing, right? So we hired on a few new resources. Actually, Lauren's here with me right now, and we're working through some things. So that's the 90-day objective. But the staple is critically thinking through your mornings of like how you habit stack to get to the point of like how you're going to level up, right? And your morning
I'm interrupting again, but I got to give this phone to my wife. I use this other phone to get a different app because I'm trying to habitually get on productive calls with people like all day. So I downloaded that app I was talking about on this other phone so I could make another profile and invite more people and grow my following. I'm going to give this to my wife, but it kind of goes along with what you're talking about.
Beautiful.
So I'll be right back.
Beautiful. So when we habit stack, right? So when I go into the book reading, I'll go from book reading then to Spanish. Spanish is like a big key goal for me in performing over the next year. It was last year. I've grown so much. I've had like 11 or 1,200 words right now. So I want to compound that. So it's the layers of daily activity of understanding Spanish, making sure I'm in the language. So then once I'm done with Spanish, my kid's typically up right now. I'm getting my kids to ready. I'm getting them off to school, and then I'm into work by 8:30. So we got a meeting with our team. The next 90 days now, the big indicator is my top 3 every day of what we're working on, right? And I'm constantly thinking on the business. How can we create revenue? What are we doing? So we had to make a small pivot because in November, December, we actually, on the wholesaling front, which is like my transactional side, that slowed down pretty significantly. We just weren't getting a ton of deal flow coming through. I just rolled Lauren on. And so now we're looking at ways of like, hey, how do we create other sales funnels? And so we had to go into like, all right, we're going into PPC. We're spending a lot in PPC, but how do we create a lot of funnels outside of PPC that'll be generating to give us a lot of activity, right? Because even though we top line revenue, we did a little over probably $1 million last year, but we want to exceed that, right? We want to do way more than that as far as top line revenue. We had to split that amongst partners. We really want to create like independent sales funnels for our businesses that ultimately allow us to grow at a hyper focused speed, right? So but I realized a problem. I got to focus on like revenue. What's going to create revenue for our business, right? So I said over the next 90 days, I got to lock in to the wholesaling leg because we need to, like, I need to, especially bringing Lauren on, we need to focus on
deals and flip them quick and get a nice pipeline of working capital deals that you can flip and close quickly. Right.
That too, but also what allows us to do is like have our marketing machine on point where we can identify deals, right? Because I also rolled on another resource for the so we're heavy in working capital right now, but we rolled on an acquisition specialist for my multifamily company, right? We locked down. We are in 5 syndications now. Last year, we had a really big year for being an early syndicator, and now we're trying to push that needle forward even a little bit more, right? So brought on like somebody coming in for acquisitions. We're underwriting deals. We're constantly putting LOIs and getting the activity out there to make sure that, hey, people know we're buyers, right? I'm constantly meeting, raising capital, creating new relationships. So I knew that like the marketing piece was going to be the most important as far as bringing in, alleviate some of my time with scaling, bringing new resources in. We want to bring 2 or 3 more resources on by the end of this quarter to really facilitate and help us in that way, right? Just to make sure our activity's high. So our goal really at the end of the day is to create 3 new funnels that we want this quarter, 3 new funnels for our wholesaling leg beyond just PPC. So we're creating and driving 3 new funnels where we're doing 5 to 7 deals a month. That was something we were doing mid-year last year, and then things slowed down. So I'm like, all right, how do we bring this back in-house really and create more funnels? So we've been really strategizing, focus on the business of how we're going to create those funnels. So that's what we're really focused on in the next 90 days. We want to do a significant amount of deals, while obviously keeping the multifamily in mind, that's also going to create a new funnel for us. So whether we're wholesaling multifamily deals, because we're definitely going to we want to do a few wholesale and multifamily deals, and then takedowns. So, and then dispositions, we're dispositioning 95 units right now. So it's just busy, right? And there's a lot of working pieces in place, but if you don't crush your morning, everything tends to like be all over the place, right? You want to make sure mornings are going to be hyper focused on what you're working on, what you're planning on, and those habits are going to fall in place through the remainder of the day. So that's exactly what I did with the top 3, right? I think the top 3 is huge, but your days start the night before. I found that out this year because if I'm not starting the night before and identifying my top 3, then by the time I get into my day, it's like noon, 1 o'clock, and then I'm all over the place. But if I know what my top 3s are the night before, then I'm coming in, I'm feeding my morning, I'm feeding my mind with everything that I need to feed. I'm on all operating cylinders, right? I'm in my strength zone from like 8:30 to 11 of just like operating, what we need to do, how I need to click. And then, momentum starts to ride. And so building those daily habits, going back to the book I'm reading now, Atomic Habits, there was a quote that I have for this year, the quote of the year. So I have a quote now for the year, and I have a word of the year, and then I have my goals. But the quote of the year is count the days and make the days count, right? Count the days and make the days count. If I'm counting the days and every day is a little bit better than the next day, it's the compounding level of interest, right? It's same like compounding money. I'm going to get better and better and better every day. So count the days and make the days count. I think I'm going to write a book when I have more time. Count the days, make the days count.
I love that. That's a send-off note right there. I mean,
Yeah.
getting in, leveling up, all of that stuff takes, a focused effort. And I think my word for the year is efficiency. And that's what I was saying. If I want to be on the microphone and entertain and entertain and entertain, I need to be hopping in rooms with people and listening and jumping on and firing value constantly. Where is everybody? Where is my customer base? What is my client avatar? Where are those people located online?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we're too busy writing on the blueprint board about what's my client avatar, what am I chasing, rather than just going out and starting to chase it, and then it eventually comes to you anyway. I think you need a plan, but the plan should also include a lot of action because, dude, the world isn't slowing down, it's speeding up. And I think that everyone, by the way, 2021 needs to get on this Clubhouse app, especially if you're a marketer, an entrepreneur, a business owner, because while it's super nichey, it's a little guru-y, but at the same time, guess what? Gurus, what they say works, or no one would ever pay them any money. But especially anybody I've ever worked with, anyone I've ever shared the stage with, by the way, whether you like them or not, doesn't matter because they're effective. They made money. They had systems that work. I encourage you to get around people that are operating in that capacity if you want to be successful, especially with business. For me, like I'm doing more business this year. I got the entertainment thing down. I could do that all day and go broke. You know what I mean? I could entertain people for free for the rest of my life. I'd be happy, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to make money. How am I using my skills, my talents, and my professional expertise to drive sales for entrepreneurs? And so I think that having a plan is great. I think it's the year of efficiency. Am I being efficient with my time? Being busy and being efficient, two totally different things.
Two totally different things. So
like
plan
you said,
it out.
make the days count. If you're counting the days and you're making the days count, you have to make every second count too. You can't just count to count.
Dude, honestly, man, I go back to conquer your mornings. Like, I mean,
Totally agree. That's why I'm on fire today. I got up early. I was on chats. I'm getting bombarded with positivity, mindset, and I'm having a great day now.
Yeah. You gotta do it. I mean, it's so amazing how I feel like somewhat I was inefficient last year in many ways. Like it's crazy how like I felt like I was truly inefficient. This year is the planning of like being present and being hyper focused, right? So planning the night before, build your list out of habits. If I could recommend, obviously one book, James Clear puts it into very, very, everything's a habit, right? Our mind's built off of habits, whether they're good or bad, right? You can deal with stress by smoking a cigarette, or you can deal with stress in a much different way. It's just depending how you look at it. It's a choice with words, right? That's why you're protecting your reticular activating system is so important, right? I'm going to tell myself truce. But like, how are you going to develop new truths? And that's being 1% better than the previous day. And then, but planning the night before, get your top 3 down, go into the following day with priorities and what you're planning on doing, right? How am I going to get a little bit better today? And then, like Pat said, I mean, you're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. That's your mastermind crew. If identify your mastermind crew and surround yourself with them. Right. We're getting in a couple masterminds this year. I just signed up for one. There's like a billionaire in the group. There's a 50 or 60 guys worth $50-60 million just sold a business. Other guys selling their businesses. Like it's insane. But you want to be around those people because you are the average, right? People that think at a much deeper level. So, I mean, I encourage you to do that, but habit stacking is crucial. Books are crucial. And if I could recommend like 3 right off the bat, just ones that are energy busts, building up that energy, get active, right? Get your body moving, think and grow rich. And then ultimately Atomic Habits is going to help you because you're going to build those habits that are going to definitely produce results. And I mean, they've produced results for me just because I built up habits, but now I'm really cognitively thinking of how I really, really can get better. So anyways, that's it. Count the days, make the days count. But we're growing over the next 90 days. So we'll put some stuff blended here and there. But we probably won't be going live for a little bit. Because we're focusing over the next 90 days of really kind of crucially building these habits. So we'll blend some stuff in there, just some quick micro stuff for you.
We'll still hop on every now and again, I'm sure, but we are going to be focused on growing. And when we do come back full steam, we are going to do it inside of a private group, because I think that part of 2021 with us is, like we said, efficiency. We want to have people in on these conversations that are zeroed in on what are we doing to get better and focusing on that. And so I love it, man. Let's go. 2021. Count the days, make them count.